Why are some people able to consistently make progress every single day? They wake up early, finish their work on time, work on side projects, and still have time for the things they enjoy. It might seem like they simply have stronger self-discipline, but often the real difference isn't discipline. It's that they have built a system that helps them move forward every day. Today, I want to share my daily productivity system, how I use TickTick to organize my day, from my morning routine to my work schedule, and keep everything moving smoothly. A lot of unproductive days don't start when we begin working. They start in the morning. Sleeping in and scrolling on your phone until you have to rush out the door, or waking up too late and losing the entire morning. If you've experienced mornings like this, you probably know the feeling. Well, I've already ruined the day. And that thought can make it even harder to get started. So for me, a productive day starts with a reliable morning routine. In TickTick, I created a list called Morning. I only use it on work days. On weekends, I prefer having more flexibility instead of following the exact same schedule. Inside this list, I add the steps of my actual morning routine. The important thing is that this routine should be realistic, not a perfect morning routine that looks impressive but is difficult to maintain. I do use an alarm to wake up, but I also create a separate task called Get Up, because completing a task and checking it off gives me a small sense of progress. For tasks with a clear time window, I use 3 reminders: 10 minutes before, at the start time, at the end time. Because while I'm doing something, I don't want to keep checking the clock. The 10-minute reminder tells me, the next step is coming soon. If I'm running behind, I know I need to speed things up a little, so it doesn't affect the rest of my morning. The start reminder means, it's time to leave. And the end reminder is what helps me control my pace. When it goes off, I know it's time to head home. This prevents a simple task like walking my dog from taking longer than planned and affecting my breakfast or work schedule. This small setup has made a big difference for me. It helps me complete the first part of my day as planned and gives me a smooth start every morning. And because TickTick supports smartwatches, I can check these reminders directly from my watch instead of constantly picking up my phone. When I get to work, I don't immediately start working on tasks. Instead, I take some time to review what I need to accomplish that day. In TickTick, I created a work folder with 2 lists. The first one is my weekly plan list. The second one is my someday list. This is where I keep ideas and future tasks that I want to work on, but don't need to focus on right now. Most of my daily planning happens inside the weekly plan list. I group tasks by time and use the Kanban view, so they are displayed in sections like today, tomorrow, and no date. At the end of each work week, I do a weekly review. I look back at, what did I complete this week? What still needs to be continued, and what should I focus on next week? Then I add the tasks I want to work on next week into the no date section. One principle I follow is, I don't assign a specific time to every task in advance. Only tasks that have a clear schedule or deadline get a specific date. For example, publish an Instagram post on Tuesday. Or, review weekly performance data on Friday. For recurring tasks, I also set them up in advance. Things like checking social media every morning or reviewing weekly metrics every Friday. They automatically appear in my plan, so I don't have to make the same decision repeatedly. Then, when I start work each day, I simply open my weekly plan. Based on my actual situation that day, I choose the tasks from no date that I want to focus on and move them into today. When I move a task to the Today section, its due date automatically changes to today, so I only need to decide what actually deserves my attention today. And my daily plan is ready. When I'm working, I usually use TickTick on my computer, because the desktop version allows me to view my tasks and calendar together. After deciding what I need to do today, I take one more step. I drag those tasks into my calendar and decide exactly when I'll work on them. It's a simple step, but it gives me a much clearer picture of my day. It helps me see how much time I actually have and avoid planning too much. Everyone has their own way of scheduling time. For me, there are a few principles I follow. First, I prioritize tasks where the next step is not completely clear. For example, tasks that require someone else's response, or tasks that need further discussion before they can move forward. I prefer starting these earlier because waiting too long can easily affect everything that comes after. Second, I try to protect blocks of uninterrupted deep work time. For example, if I have a meeting at 2 p.m., then the hour from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. is usually not a good time for a task that requires deep focus, because the upcoming meeting will interrupt my concentration. So, whenever possible, I schedule important and complex tasks during longer blocks of uninterrupted time. That makes it much easier to enter a focused state. Third, for tasks with clear deadlines, I reserve time for them in advance. This prevents situations where I realize too late that there isn't enough time left to finish them. Finally, I group smaller tasks that don't require much focus together. Things like replying to emails, answering messages, or handling small administrative tasks. This reduces the mental cost of constantly switching between different types of work, and it allows my most focused time to be spent on the things that actually require thinking. Complex tasks often come with unexpected challenges along the way, and when I get stuck, it's easy to lose focus and start doing something else. So before I begin, I think through the process. What should I do first? What comes next? Is there anything important I need to keep in mind? Then I write these steps directly in the task details and turn them into subtasks. This way, when I actually start working, I don't need to think about the entire project at once. I only need to focus on the next small step in front of me. Breaking a large task into smaller steps makes it feel less overwhelming and much easier to start. And as each small task gets completed, I keep building momentum and moving the project forward. Even with a clear plan, I don't always open TickTick throughout the day. Sometimes I forget. Sometimes unexpected things interrupt my workflow. So to keep my system visible, I add TickTick widgets to my phone's home screen. I use several TickTick widgets, each representing a different part of my day: what I need to do in the morning, what matters most during work, and what I need to handle after work. All of them are created using filters. For example, for my morning routine widget, I don't simply display the entire morning list. Because most tasks in this list are recurring tasks, if I show the whole list, after completing today's routine, tomorrow's tasks may immediately appear. That removes the feeling of actually finishing something. Instead, I use a filter to only show today's morning tasks. This way, once I complete everything, the list is truly empty. The same idea applies to my work tasks. I have a widget called Today's Work. It only shows the tasks I actually need to move forward today. So every time I check my phone, I immediately know, what should I focus on today? And after work, I switch to my evening widget. It mainly shows personal and home-related tasks. Although I call it evening, it doesn't mean these tasks can only be done at night. It simply means these are things outside of work. This creates a natural transition between work and personal life. Finally, there is one small habit I always keep. If I reach the end of the day and some tasks are still unfinished, I add a quick progress update inside the task details. I usually write down what has already been completed, important information or links, what changed during the process, and what the next step should be. This helps me avoid starting from zero the next time I open the task. Instead of spending time trying to remember, where did I stop? I can immediately continue from where I left off. Of course, I don't always wait until the end of the day to write these notes. For complex tasks, I often record my thoughts while I'm working. TickTick allows me to open a task as a sticky note that stays on top of other windows. So I can work on the task while recording ideas and progress at the same time. This helps me avoid forgetting important details, keeps the task visible, and makes it easier to stay focused without being distracted. This is the productivity system I use every day. It helps me create a clear structure for my day, so I don't have to constantly figure out what to do next. A reliable morning routine helps me start the day smoothly. A planned workflow helps me make steady progress during work. And when important things are already organized and moving forward, my evening finally feels like my own time. Of course, everyone has a different way of working. This system may not fit everyone perfectly, but I hope it gives you some ideas for building a workflow that works for you. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy content about productivity systems and TickTick workflows, consider subscribing to the channel. See you in the next one.